You want to be financially free, and you see all these different posts people put about, oh, you could get these cars, be on all these vacations, and do all this stuff. So let me tell you, the reality of that is not true, is quite false. Because for those that are actually financially free, they still have to do a lot of groundwork when it comes to their brain power and activities that are involved. Of course, you can get it to a place where you got the infrastructure down pat, but there's never going to be a time where it's like you completely go on vacations forever. You got to still be involved in what it is that you're doing, unless you sold the company and then you got your assets. But even when you got your assets sitting somewhere, you got to pretty much be able to manage it and oversee it. Because if you let somebody run it entirely, we've seen this happen with George Foreman and a lot of others, where it's like they turned a blind eye, they focused on everything else they had going, and thinking they could just retire and be done with it, and then they end up going bankrupt. And that's the sad part of it. But let me tell you, it's some groundwork. Right now, I'm working on a space of minds. I'm renovating it, because what it is it's like, yeah, I had this extra cash flow coming in, and then the person just said, I'm leaving tomorrow, right? No notice. Now, of course, there are laws in place to restrict people from doing that, especially as a landlord. People can't just walk up on out. They have to give you a 30-day notice, and they got to abide to their lease for X amount of time. This person was good, and I didn't feel like I wanted to hold on. It was all good. There was no issues there, and I let it happen. But I had to strap up, wake up, and snap out of it and be like, I got to get this going now. It wasn't left in perfect shape, so I had to actually do some work to bring it back to a certain level. And as much as I wanted to be like, I'm just going to do this in a simple fashion, I really couldn't do that. Because everyone that I was like, oh, do you want to check this place out? They couldn't see the vision entirely. So then you have to implement that vision yourself to bring it to life. So now my vision is making it like 10 times better than what it was before. Open the space up and do a bigger investment. And the reason I do that, with the biggest investment that you do, the bigger the return. The way I treat things that I take care of or I create is really like, what would it be like if I have Jesus living here? If Jesus is coming through, how would I set up the space for him? And that is my motive for going the extra mile for everything that I do. In my software design business, where I create these applications, I give it my all and beyond, because I want to make sure that this is a longevity thing that works for the person that I'm doing this for in the best capacity, as if they were Jesus. Since that time, for 3 months now, I pretty much have been working after work, also trying to develop the business. On top of all this, trying to manage the construction that my contractor is doing, as well as the part that I'm manually doing. You can't be completely hands off. Even though the contractor is doing his thing, you as well have to be involved in order for you to see it come to the vision that you want. Of course, when you scale off, you're not going to have time to do hands-on dirty work as much, but there's a joy that comes with it. And I think when you tailor make it with your own hands, people recognize that and they appreciate that a lot much more. And I'm working this hard for this extra supposedly income that I could potentially receive that may not come. And that's the risk factor that people don't talk about. As you're in the search for financial freedom, doing a lot of these investments, it comes with risks that are unforeseeable at many times. And those unforeseeable risks sometimes can cost you quite a bit. So you have to be very calculated on, if I'm going to spend money on this, do I have the reserves in case something happens to protect myself? Do I have the capability to withstand that? And also, of course, the number one thing is, am I going to quit? Because I can tell you, during the midst of all of this, sometimes I didn't want to stay up till 2 in the morning, but I had to in order for me to get to the next step. And then stay up 2 a.m. again. And I had to wake up early because I had to work out, start work again for my business. Because I'm also a business owner where if I don't get up and do the things, I don't get paid. It's not like one of those things where it's like I can take off, go on vacation. No, the vacations I took, I don't get paid, because the days that I put in is the days that the client actually pays me. So I have to be mindful of all these things. So search for your financial freedom. Just know that it comes with these factors. How do you really train yourself to push through those times, right? Although I could say the thought about staying up till 2 in the morning and then have to be back up like 6, 7 a.m. the next day, it is tough. But when you love what it is that you're doing, have the passion for it, it becomes so much easier. Like, I love bringing this to life, working on this space and adding little accents here, adding little accents there, and being able to see my vision come to life slowly. Like, it may take me 2 days just to replace the toilet. But I learned so much about the process where I found the right pieces and how it operates, the mechanism of it. So in the future, when I got to do a repair, oh yeah, it's like second nature. It's just like me replacing a bathroom sink or kitchen sink. Now I know how to put these things together in like half an hour because I've done it so many times where the experience comes easy. Now I'm not going to learn how to put tiles together and lay down ceramic tiles because that's just a lot for me. And I don't see myself ever doing that. So certain things you definitely don't want to be trying to do the man's down work for. You want to make sure you be able to delegate it. The way you calculate, what do you put your time towards? What do you put your actual labor towards? And what do you pay others to and actually delegate? It's a mixed math. It's not something that is one fit all for everybody because you may find yourself being good at putting tiles down, but you're not good at doing electric or putting a sink together. So in that case, then you do the tiles and pay somebody else to do everything else. For me, I know I don't have the patience to do the tiles, but the electric and the sink, those are flawless, easy for me. I love doing those things. And I love seeing how the mechanism of it gets all pieced together and comes to life. I'm going to put my effort towards these things, but then delegate the tile elsewhere and have to spend the dollars on it. So you have those factors, but the passion is what truly drives exactly where do you go when it comes to your financial freedom. If you don't enjoy the thing that you're going to do in order for you to get that financial freedom, it's going to feel like you got enslaved, you're going to hate it, you're going to have all this money and all this success if you even get there. And you're going to be like, man, this isn't really what I signed up for. That's not how I really wanted to get my success. I wanted to get it from the things I'm really passionate about and enjoy. I love the part of being a landlord. I love the fact of having a smaller building structure. So that way it's like, yeah, I don't have to manage 10 units, much smaller scope. It makes it much more of an intimate relationship. I get to know everybody and we all get to know each other. And it's smoother that way. But in the future, I might have to scale at that level where I'm not going to have that capacity. But the infrastructure, the foundation that I set up, I'm going to pass it on to everyone else. So that way they can replicate what I'm doing and replicate me because they're a representation of my company, my infrastructure, my foundation. And that's the other thing you want to make sure you pass off to as you're setting up your empire. Completely don't let that go. You got to be careful with the people that you do hire, the people that you get to do service. Make sure that they're on point and they can replicate you because you want to have. You know how you always say, man, if I only had 2 of me, 4 of me. Well, you can. If you train people to do things a certain way, then you can actually have that. Of course, they're not going to be perfect. You got to leave a bit of room for errors. Like I have my neighbor that helps me out here and there. I know he's not great at everything, but certain things I know he's good at. I'm going to let him do it when it comes to paint. And I'm not going to sit there and try to micromanage. And if he does make a mistake, you got to let them know, listen, I think you could make this better. This is how I want this to be. Communicate. Instead of being like, oh, you're fired and I want to move on. If you do that and don't have no patience, then I think you're going to burn quick and try to do everything yourself, and you're not going to be able to scale up as you intend to do. But if you can retain people, the longer someone works with you, the more likely they'll be able to adapt to how you work, how you want to grow and improve, and you're going to see their growth at the same time as well. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm almost done with the space, and I'm looking forward to see what it turns out to. I actually just found out about midterm rentals, which is crazy. And you don't have to do your whole house. You could do part of your house. The way it works is you could do 2 months, 3 months, whatever months. Because the type of loan that I have is a FHA loan. They require you to only rent to people that are going to be staying there for 30 days or more. Then when I signed the papers, that's what it was. So Airbnb, I couldn't do, and I couldn't get the permit or license for it. But with this midterm rental thing, it could work out pretty good. Downside to it is that you actually have to furnish the place and get all this stuff going. Do I want to do that? I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to put some feelers out just to see how things are going because this space is not really a space where I can entirely give somebody. But I'm going to see how it boils down to. It's just a portion of my space that I'm renovating and allowing somebody else to stay. Definitely in your search for financial freedom, don't chase the money. Don't chase the millions, 10 millions. But actually chase the things that you're passionate about and see how they can solve a human problem. See how they're bringing service to people. This is how God instructed us to be. So he can say, well done, my good, faithful servant. This is what God did. This is what Jesus did when he was out on this earth, washing people's feet and making sure that he was taking care of people. And that comes with great rewards. What is Jeff Bezos doing? If you look at all his interviews, what does he say? He just wanted to be a service to people. And in return, what did the world give him? Billions of dollars. He can't even spend all that money. Most of it is all in Amazon stocks, in his assets, which is how most people, rich people, actually have their money. They actually probably have like tens of thousands of dollars in their bank account, maybe millions, but their net worth is billions of dollars because of the assets that they own. And then they'll sell shares of assets that they own at times just to buy into other assets or do other things, but it's never not thought about, right? They actually think about it so that way they can make sure that it's actually maneuvering in a good way, because they don't want to see their assets devalued. What more sense does it make to sell an asset if it's going to devalue at all? So in your search of financial freedom, always find that, ground yourself properly. I always say trust in Jesus. That is my foundation. The principles that I found in the Bible, I apply it to everything that I do, my business, how I carry myself, my communication, how I work with people, how I treat people that work for me, and how I treat all my business endeavors and partnerships. Because he left the foundation inside of his words that is so astronomical. Like, it's so great. Like, there's no wrong in it. People may say it's a contradiction, this and that, but if you apply the principles in real life, it actually works. The Old Testament, a lot of people find it to be very boring, but I find the book of Numbers to be very great in terms of delegating this person on the north, this person on the west, this person on the east, and on the south. Those things actually have worked for me when I started applying them, seeing how you can't make everything perfect because you don't have 4 of you. You can only train people to be the best version of you as possible, and hoping that they do the best of their capabilities. And there's going to be slight nuances because they're going to have their personalities. So trust in that, be patient, and don't try to micromanage everything at all. Peace and love. Trust in Jesus. Like, share, subscribe, of course, if you find this insightful. I really hope this gets to others, to encourage others to, as in their search for their financial freedom, just know that it comes with risk. It comes with understanding exactly what you're getting yourself into. But the thing is, it's not about the money. It's really just about you finding that passion and that drive to be at a service to people. Have an amazing one. Hustle, 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 hustle,